Hello, listeners. This is Lee Price.
This is Will Ford from Football 365.
And you're listening smartly to At the Bridge Pod, a Chelsea FC podcast, although I would describe it as the Chelsea FC podcast.
Magical from Eden Hazard. Kai Havertz in the Champions League final. Ivanovic! Yes. In the middle, it's just behind him. But it's tapped in by Hakim Ziyech. Matic with the ball driver. Matic takes the net off. Hat-trick hero. Cole Palmer wins an epic, sensational game.
It's time for another episode of At the Bridge Pod, your number one Chelsea FC podcast. Coming up on this episode...
Well, at least the Seattle Seahawks beat the LA Rams. Oh, welcome back, everyone, to another episode of At the Bridge Pod. I'm joined in the virtual room, filled with lions, and, of course, a kitten. He's here. Tom is always here. I've got Ollie. I've got Chris. What were your moments of the weekend, team?
Do you know what? It's a bit of a deja vu one for me, but not what you expect. I saw Wicked, but not the show this time. I saw the movie. So,
And how was it?
It was my highlight of the weekend. It was pretty damn good. I quite enjoyed it.
2 hours 40. I will be watching that. Wow.
I will have to forewarn you. It's half the show, right?
I know.
And it's about 40 minutes too long.
Most films over 2 hours. You've got to really justify that 2.5 hour, tag.
I mean, I enjoyed it, but it's definitely. I don't think it would be for everyone.
Oh, that's totally understandable. Chris, what was yours?
I didn't do a lot. My football team, we didn't have a game, so we did a little indoor five-a-side tournament.
Game off.
That was fun. No, we just didn't have a game anyway.
Oh.
To be fair, so yeah, we arranged a little tournament amongst ourselves.
Sweet.
It was pretty good fun. Made it to the final, lost in the final.
Very Antonio Conte. Oh no, he won it.
Yeah, well,
he won it, didn't he? So it doesn't count.
We was England, so we was just carrying on the proud tradition of England.
Yeah, that's totally yeah. I was trying to think of the manager that got us to all those FA Cup finals, and we didn't. Wasn't Tuchel? He didn't do back to back. Oh, did he do the League Cup?
Yeah, it was two. Wasn't
Yeah,
it?
Was it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
Mr. Runner Up in the cups, apart from the Champions League, which is the one that matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was never so chuffed to see Game Off trending on Saturday. Bit cruel of me, but I was like, finally something I'm vindicated on. My moment of the weekend happened in Southampton, because before every game, I found this out, they get the fans to do a score predictor. And if you guess correctly, you win a signed shirt. And this week, Adam Armstrong had to present the prize to a supporter who correctly predicted a 5-0 defeat to Brentford.
Wow.
There's a video of them actually
That's
presenting
amazing.
it. I have never seen a shorter conversation in my life between
cheers,
obviously
lad,
the woman who won it and Adam Armstrong. And you know what? I've got an amateur lip reader in to check the footage. It was me. And it appears Adam said, "Well done," and handed it.
You know what? It's
Poor
like
guy.
That's so funny.
That's such a nice thing for the club to do. Like a good thing.
Yeah.
But not when you're losing every week. Like,
Someone...
stop doing it. It was a good idea, but in reality, it don't work because you don't want your fans turning up going, we're gonna lose 4-0, I think, this week.
The fact that a prediction...
They're damned if they're...
Oh, come on. A prediction of 5-0 came true. It's the fact that someone who's a fan of your club went, "We're going to lose 5-0.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they're damned if they do and damned if they don't, though. Because if they don't do it, then they're like, well, why aren't you doing it just because we're losing?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
You know,
God. Oh, terrible.
That's so funny, though. The fans themselves predicted it and they were like, well, rules are rules. Oh, I love that.
Oh, rules are rules. I was just looking back at what Chelsea got 0-0 in the 2022 FA Cup final. Was Tuchel in charge then? I thought that was. This is how many managers we go through that we're not too sure. It was him. Okay. This is what happens to you. You just expect. Is there another manager? Did we have?
Yeah, the ones where we kept losing on penalties to Liverpool.
Worst times ever. That fucking hell. Oh, but before we dive into the news, I do have some Shevva shout-outs. First of all, I've got Sarge said, I listened via Spotify, so gave you 5 stars to try and help you guys out as you deserve it. Despite being a Villa fan, I still look forward to every episode because to me, it's still football and the brilliant combination of all 4 of your personalities comes together beautifully, like one of Mike's cake recipes. By the way, I love that. I didn't help him here. He just wrote that himself. Just saying. Thank you for your time, gentlemen. And last but not least, this isn't a real review, is it?
Thank you, Son. That's mental that we have people who aren't Chelsea fans listen to this show. That's really cool.
That's awesome. Villa fan as well, so they we've probably passed them in a supermarket, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
That's because we're from the Midlands, if the accents didn't give it away. Second, Ethan Williams. You lads were the ones who really helped me start to enjoy football when I first started. I barely knew a thing about Chelsea. Since then, my knowledge has expanded as I listen to your pod. Thanks for everything once again, lads, and up the Chelsea.
Thank you very much. We're teaching people. We're teachers on this show. God help you all.
Cool. And finally, hey, it's when I said, remember when we had the percentages of who listens where, and I said, we got 2% Nigeria, and I was like, I'm pretty sure they're probably VPNs, and then we had Nigerian listeners email and message in, and I was like, okay, that's really cool. I was like, that's really cool now. So finally, Frost, Happy New Year, guys. I haven't listened for a while, and it feels really good listening to you again. Cheers. I'm glad you're back. Glad you're back.
Yeah.
Glad you're back. So it's time to actually hit some news. Was there any new news from the weekend? No. Did we get some breaking news before we recorded? Yeah, we did. That is that Chelsea are seriously has been said now, considering to bring in one more centre-back this month. I love how Fabrizio said one more. Like, is that in the sense of that we've already brought one in? But anyway, Chelsea apparently could trigger their option to recall Trevoh Chalobah from his season-long loan at Palace this month. But wait, there's more. Marc Guehi has been discussed as an option internally. It's apparently we're going to be using Trevoh Chalobah as a make weight for any deal for Guehi. However, it's understood Palace would prefer a straight cash agreement for their captain. Now, team, I was actually really chuffed to see this piece of news because 1, it meant we had something to discuss in the news, and 2, I got to head over to the Crystal Palace YouTube channel. It's not a sponsor yet, just to learn how to pronounce his name properly, and I bloody nailed it. It's Marc Guehi, and he says it in the video. So I was like, yes. He did state as well, it's not Guehi, it's not Guehi. I was like, can't believe
it. Doesn't matter. They're going the commentators. If we sign him, the commentators will fuck it up anyway.
Oh, of course, yeah. Marc Guehi. Come on. Marc Guehi and Marc Guehi. Can't wait.
Oh, it's gonna be hell for them.
Man, no way. Right, how do we feel about this? Like, for both stories.
This is a difficult one for me because I actually quite like Marc Guehi, but it depends. Yep. I think it depends quite a lot on the cost. I know we've got a sell-on clause, so I don't know how that works, whether we just get a reduced fee or we pay them a lot of money and we get some money back, or if then, like you say, Chalobah's a make weight, or we're looking to recall him in particular. It's difficult because, like, I don't think Guehi is like the best centre-back. He's got some pedigree, obviously played a lot for England. He's quite consistent, been captain for Palace, so quite a leader. It depends on the cost then for me, because he does have a few downsides as well. He's a little bit undersized, from my view, for a centre-back. We have a lot of centre-backs who are about 6 foot or below. And we probably need someone who's a little bit taller, maybe a little bit more aggressive. And also, I've never seen him play on the right side of defence. He tends to play on the left a bit more. So it feels like we need more of a right-sided centre-back. So there's a few things about this that make me say, well, is Trevoh Chalobah actually better? And then for the cost, would it be worth then spending, say, 40 million on Marc Guehi when we could recall Chalobah for free? There's a few questions for me.
I mean, first of all, it blew my mind when I saw that apparently Chalobah would be open to return. I'm like, how we treated him. Like, not us, but how the club treated him. And he's actually, like, fair play to you, sir, because I don't think I'd have that attitude. I would literally be like, screw you guys. I know you pay my wage, but...
The way I see it with Chalobah, though, it's like he wants to prove people wrong, doesn't he?
Yeah,
so he gets to come back to the club and say, like, that I deserve to be here. And to be fair, it's a proper, it's a real statement on Trev's attitude. I think that if he does come back, he will have managed to play his way back into every single Chelsea team since Tuchel was manager.
Yeah.
More or less.
For me, Guehi's a more reliable option than Badiashile, Disasi, or Tosin. He's quite durable as well because he doesn't seem to get injured. I can't really think of an injury issue he had. So, and obviously when we played against him, he looked pretty damn good on the ball. And that's kind of something we have in Maresca. He wants players to be good on the ball. So, you know what? I actually took some time with this. I think this deal could be done fairly easily because Guehi's entering his final year of his contract come July. And that's pretty much going to tell you that Palace have one final opportunity, either now or summer, but more like now, to cash in at pretty much close to full value. And of course, depending on how that sell-on clause works, if it doesn't technically apply to us, then they're pretty much going to get their full cash value. But what do I think will happen? If it goes through, we will do a PSR deal. They'll buy Chalobah, we'll buy Guehi. That's my thoughts. What do you think, Chris?
Do you know what? I like it. What I like about the deal is I think he's a good age, but with decent experience. I think he's played in the Premier League for enough time now.
Oh, 4 seasons now.
That's what I mean. And I don't think there's a massive transition either because his life wouldn't have to get massively disrupted because he'd already be living in London anyway. Which is another thing to take into account when you make a signing, that, you know, off the field stuff can slow down their progress on the field. We wouldn't have any of that. He knows the club, obviously, because he's been here before.
Yeah.
He was really good for England in the summer as well, which shows that he can do it under pressure. I think he's one of those players where he might not look outstanding now in this Palace team, but I think he's a player who he's just waiting for that big move, and then people will see how good he actually is. It's a bit like when we signed Gary Cahill for me. Like when we signed him, everyone was like, yeah, he's okay. But he wasn't considered like top class. But then he went on to do it. And I think Guehi's similar. I think he's waiting for that big move to show what he can really do. I would really be behind this move. I think it would be the smartest move we could do in January, where deals are notoriously difficult, to get in a centre-back of his quality, his age, and his experience. I think would be a really good deal. Yeah. I am kind of with Ollie, though. I wouldn't pay 70-80 million for him, so it would depend on the cost, but it would be a really good deal, I think.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's hard in January. You can't always get such a home run of a transfer like we did when we got Alex Pato on loan. That's the problem. I will not have slander on my boy. I will not. But genuinely, we got Giroud. I sort of look at that as the poster. I know, and we also in that window we got Ross Barkley, who he was great for pre-season. But the thing is, we have a chance to. If we do get this deal, I think it would be very good. And I still feel that it will be a PSR style deal where we buy him and we sell Chalobah to Palace, because there's no swap deals, as much as they're really great on Football Manager and on, FIFA. The problem with them is they don't look good on the books because no transfer fee was exchanged. And then you sort of like, basically, let's just say, I don't know. I'm just going to throw out, we sell Chalobah for 30 million. Doesn't say, I'm not saying that's what his value is, but we send for 30, buy Guehi for, 45 as an example. Basically, we've just got 30 million pure profit and then 45 spread over 5 years.
Yeah, but it's like you say, that works. You don't know how it adds in with like the sell-on clause that we actually have for Guehi in the first.
I know
place.
that like
itself 20% or something like that as well. So there's something to that. I don't know how that works. Whether we just get less money, have to pay less money for him, or we get more money back for the books.
I think with that, I think it might be something where we would just overpay by the 20%. You know what I mean?
Right, and then we just call it even. You just waive the clause or something. Yeah, I can see it.
I've just Googled it. They usually get the money off the fee as they've been entitled to it back anyway. Oh, thank you. There we go.
Interesting.
Let's see. Yeah, so you might be right, Chris, with the overpay.
Yeah, that's what I think. Like, I think if they value him at say 50 million, obviously we would get 10
10
million
million.
of that back.
Yeah.
So we'd pay them 60.
Yeah.
Right.
So then they're
Yeah.
still getting the value that they wanted. It's just we've
Well,
had to pay them more.
yeah. Right. Talking of Crystal Palace, it's time to head to winners and losers because we headed.
We're Palace pod this week, aren't we? At the Palace pod.
A little bit of a Palace pod because we were actually out on the road still. Crystal Palace. Let's see what happened. Under the floodlights of Selhurst Park, Chelsea turned in yet another annoyingly inconsistent performance. This time 1-1 with Crystal Palace in a game they largely controlled but just could not put to bed. The Blues flex their muscle in possession yet look like a house of cards at the back, just one gust of wind away from collapse. Enzo Maresca, ever the thinker, waited until the 80th minute to shuffle his deck of cards. A move that left fans scratching their heads and just cursing at their clocks. With just 2 points from their last 4 should-win fixtures, Chelsea now finds itself in the uncomfortable position of feeling Newcastle and Manchester City's hot breath on their necks in the race for a Champions League spot. Oh, Crystal Palace won. Chelsea won. Oh dear, here we go. We kick off with winners as always, though. But look, let's look at the total. Who have we got and how many have you got?
I've got 3 and 3.
I've got 2 and 3. I struggled.
I've got 3 and 3.
Oh, I've let the team down. I really you know what? I could slap Marc Guehi in there actually as a third winner if I need to. Because he's impressed us. I'd be curious. Yeah, Chris, who's your first winner?
I've got Enzo Fernandez.
Oh, bloody hell. Okay, I didn't see that coming. Wow.
Yeah, me neither.
Wow.
First time I've seen Enzo Fernandez outperform Caicedo in midfield.
Wow.
That a lot of that is down to the fact that I didn't think Caicedo had a good game at all. But normally Enzo just folds with him. Whenever I've seen Caicedo have a bad game, Enzo just goes, "Oh, I'll have a shit game as well." To be fair,
no one will
that's
notice
what we're doing today.
That's funny. He folds with him. I love that.
But I actually thought he was okay. I thought off the ball he wasn't great, but I'm not shocked by his lack of defensive prowess now. So I thought on the ball though he was okay. I thought he played with a lot of energy, especially when everyone else started to dip. I thought he tried to raise the energy levels. I'm not saying it was an outstanding game by him at all, but I don't think he would. I thought he was one of the better players on the day.
All right. Okay. I will go with my first winner. I've got, which I thought most would have. I had Jadon Sancho.
Yeah, he's on mine as well.
Yeah, he's on mine as well.
I look, what an assist. What an assist for the Cole Palmer goal. There's a little, I've watched it back a few times because there's that cheeky dummy at the halfway line that could only be described for me as sending Chris Richards for a hot dog, fries, and a drink. And if that wasn't enough, he sort of does it again on the box because he threads a pass. Just because honestly, it's so smooth. It should have come with some jazz soundtrack because, it's beautiful. It was really, really good play. It's what we want to see. And it was like, shame about the result. But that moment alone was, nice.
And it's not necessarily just the goal. I mean, just to comment on the goal, it wasn't obviously he didn't score it, but the goal doesn't happen without him. And like you say, if it's just the dummy, you think, that's like a clever bit of play, but he actually then beats him again.
Yeah.
And so that so then he doesn't just beat him on the dummy on the halfway line, which is, obviously great, and beats him for pace. He then actually out dribbles him as well. So totally embarrassed him really. But I also thought he had a really good half defensively.
100%.
He was almost playing like left wing back at times. In the positions he was taking up, he was getting stuck in, he was cutting about the place, doing a good job. Especially his first half performance, I thought he was very good.
Yeah, I mean, his defensive contribution was, just as important. And to be fair, it was just that left-hand side for him. He was just dominant. He really was, and he deserved a win next to his name. It's just a shame that it's the rest of the team really. But Chris, a winner for you?
Yeah, the assist was great, and I think first half he was the player who looked like most likely to produce another goal for us. Defensive work though has really impressed me with Sancho, because when he was at Man United, you heard a lot spoken about his attitude not being right, but we haven't seen any evidence of that. obviously he's training well enough to be playing, and then when he's on the pitch, he's working incredibly hard off the ball. So fair play to him for that. Because the only problem I have with him is he fades out of games the same way the rest of the team are doing at the moment. I still haven't seen Sancho have a really good 90 minutes or however long until Maresca makes the one change that he makes. I'd like to see more from him because I thought first half he was really good, then second half he didn't really do anything. So I think he has got to stop that. He's got to be a little bit more consistent for the whole game. Yeah. But this game, again, is another one, a bit like Enzo Fernandez. I thought the bar wasn't massively high. So really, if you did anything positive, you was probably going to make this winners list.
Yeah, I think you've made a fair point there. Ollie, who's your second winner?
My second winner is Josh Achiampong.
I got him.
Yeah,
I've just quickly
he's my
penciled him.
last one as well.
Yeah, I quickly penciled him as a third one actually because
Really,
I was like, gotta give him credit.
Yeah, really, really impressed with him. Came in, right, obviously, it's a Premier League game, his first Premier League start. Big shoes to fill, not just, literally in terms of Disassi, but, also, like he's got to make a statement and perform, to prove that he can really, handle it and hack it here at Chelsea. And he was our best player for me. I only saw him make one mistake the entire game, which for an 18-year-old playing his first Premier League game is ridiculous. Where he gave the ball away, and it didn't lead to anything, and he actually helped clear it up, from what I remember. He was really, really calm and composed in possession. He made some really nice passes, some really nice runs into midfield. Like he wasn't afraid to make things happen. Plays with a lot of calmness, a lot of confidence, which I really liked. He just liked to play his game, and I was really, really impressed by him. I thought he had an excellent game for one of his first, for his first Premier League game for sure. And Enzo after the game, Maresca, not Fernandez, said that he was basically our best player, and I wholeheartedly agree with him.
Yeah, Chris, why was he your final winner?
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said, Ollie. I thought for his first game, really, really impressive. Very, very good on the ball. I thought he used the ball really well. He defended against Mateta, who's a difficult striker to play against, reasonably well. There was one in the second half where he got a bit bullied by Mateta in sort of their left channel. He put a dangerous cross in. But aside from that, I don't really think he put a foot wrong, which is massive credit for someone of his age coming into the team and playing next to as well and another inexperienced centre back. So it's not like he's coming in and playing next to Thiago Silva. He's coming in and playing next to Colwill, who's not going to carry him through the game. So actually to come in and play that well was really impressive.
It's interesting you say that though, Chris, because after the game, obviously you can't take huge amount of stock in things like this, but he did say after the game, Achiampong in particular, said that Colwill really helped him throughout the game. So maybe there's a little bit of that, like where he's helped coach him through.
Oh yeah, because Colwill is still more experienced than he is.
Yeah.
But I mean, can you imagine? I mean, if he's taking that sort of thing from Colwill, imagine what he would have found out from Thiago Silva.
Oh my
exactly.
God.
Yeah, it would have blew his mind. The only thing I want to guard against with him is a lot of Chelsea fans now on socials after this game were saying he has to be our starting centre back rest of the season.
Oh yes,
this is exactly what I was talking about on the last pod when I said about fans building players up to a level that they're then going to disappoint them in. Because don't get me wrong, he had a brilliant debut, but he could quite easily play the next game and get absolutely ripped apart. Then everyone will go, oh, he's terrible. That's it. Should never play again. Why did we give him a contract?
Yeah.
I don't know why we have to go from one extreme to the other. He had a good debut. For me, he's earned his place in the next game.
Yeah.
But we'll see how he does in that game.
Yeah,
People have got to remember, he's 18. He is going to have a game where he gets ripped apart and everyone's going to think, oh, Jesus Christ.
He's going to have a welcome to the Premier League
game, the classic.
Yeah, exactly.
Every single player in the Premier League has that game at some point.
Exactly.
So my final winner is the football club that we are about to hand a lot of money to. because the last it's January, happens, January sales, and everything is double the price. Because the last 4 games have taught me that we will be active in January. I wrote this before the news. I just want to make that clear. If we want a top 4 spot, because right now we don't score goals. We do not finish games off. We step on the neck of our opponent, and instead of a finishing blow, we give them a tickle. How many times? Just look at that game back, and I know it was frustrating, but we could, and that'll be in losers, I'm sure. We could have scored 2, 3, 4. We didn't, because we just don't have a finishing touch. We just, for some reason, we do not finish games off, and that is why we're going to pay big for someone eventually.
And you've got to say, though, like that is a problem that has plagued many a Chelsea manager now.
Yeah.
It's been a problem for almost every Chelsea team, probably since Conte.
Yeah, I fully agree. And with that, we have to move to losers. I wonder.
Oh, wait, I had one more winner.
I apologize. Go for him.
Just first half. I think a lot of people were really, really apprehensive about how the game would turn out, but actually I thought the first half in particular we played pretty well. Gusto playing like much wider in his more natural position out on the right. I thought he had a really good first half in particular, because he's been dug out a lot lately for getting into positions that he struggles in and playing in positions that he's not great in. Other than maybe scoring another goal, I can't really put a fault with that first half, but it's the second where everything fell to shit.
And on that, my first loser is Mr. Maresca. Don't know if he's everyone's.
Yeah, he's on
Yeah,
mine as well.
it's on mine. Yeah.
Fourth in a row. Four in a row.
4 more years. No.
Oh.
Look. Is it time to panic? Is it time to sound the alarms? Look, let's be real. 2 points from 12 against 3 teams battling at the bottom of the table, plus Fulham. That's a performance so bad it might even be claiming a cameo in what I referred to on Friday as Sanchez's distribution Netflix series. Someone sent me over this stat as well. Thank you, listener, for this. It's depressing, but thank you. Maresca's first 23 matches with Leicester, 19, 1, and 3. That's not bad. 9 wins, 1 draw, 3 losses. His second 23 matches with Leicester, 12, 3, 8.
Because he got found out.
That second half's collapse, and I know some people, and he still won the league. Look at it from match day 33. That ain't looking good. They just built up such a good lead, and let's be honest, Leicester was still a Premier League team in the Championship because their squad was insane. It was one of they should have broken a points total. They were that good, but of course didn't end that way because 23 matches after.
Also, I would say is, I don't know whether the Championship is really a great gauge, because Vincent Kompany's Burnley was outstanding in the Championship, but I wouldn't have put him in charge of Chelsea either.
Didn't they actually win a points total, that Burnley side?
They did. And then they came up and Vincent Kompany got found out in the Premier League. So I don't think it's a great gauge anyway. And I think people have got to remember that you're talking about and that was Kompany coming into the Premier League with his team, and he still struggled to live at this level.
I'll jump in because someone's going to say that's not the record. The record is still Reading with 106.
Oh, fair enough.
That was insane. That season.
That's ridiculous. 106? Jesus.
They were led by the Chelsea legend that was Steve Zidwell. You know, he played. He got.
With him, how can you lose?
Exactly. Anything to add on Maresca though? I mean,
just same problems we've had for the last 4 games. Subs are slow. They're predictable. Not really expected much of him. Not making any subs until 80 odd minutes ago. We keep seeing the same pattern over and over. I don't know whether it's a fitness thing or and that's the thing with this sort of second half of the season question as well. Does his teams just struggle to then sustain that level of fitness for the whole season, and so the performances drop? But he's watching our team die physically on the pitch every week at the moment, and he just waits. He just watches it happen. I've got to stop doing it. Be proactive.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to jump in on that because you've just said my second loser, substitutions. Yeah. Because what bugs me the most is he treats them a bit like I used to treat the Master Ball in Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow when I was little. You know, you've got more than one. It's not like like I said, Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow, where you had one all game. You better use it on something good. And the first sub that he made was in the 80th minute. That's, for me
Not good
personally,
enough, is it?
that's just way too late when you could see. Look,
The
you could see Palace starting to get a hold in the game much earlier than the 80th minute.
Yeah. My main problem at the moment, and I think if you look at this game in particular, I think fair play. He threw an 18-year-old in at centre half because the other centre backs haven't been performing, and I think he deserves credit for that. I thought bringing Marc on as a substitute rather than Nkunku, who hasn't really performed, again, deserves credit for that. And I don't think the team selection was bad based on the fact that we were so good in the first half. However, the one thing which managers get found out in the Premier League time and time again isn't what you do at the start of the game. It's what you do at the tail end of it. And at the moment, he's getting that dead wrong. He is not reacting to what the opposition manager is doing. They are making changes, and he isn't. He doesn't seem to know how to react or adapt to what's happening in front of him. It's like he wants to go into a game with a plan, and that's it. And I'll just hope that this plan works today, regardless of what the opposition do. You could see. No, of course you can't. You could see from, well, really, to be fair, Palace should have scored after, 4 minutes of the second half? That was alarm bells straight away. And you thought, okay, we've got away with that. But you could tell from 55, 60 minutes, they're on top here. They're growing into the game and we're fading away.
Yeah.
And we needed energy or something different. My main issue with him is he doesn't tweak anything. It's just like for like substitutions. It's take this player off, bring this player on, and hope he does a better job.
Remember when he did something at half time? Like the gusto. That was a game changer.
It was
Honest
weird
game.
because earlier in the season he was doing those things.
Yeah.
So I
don't
don't
what's changed.
understand what's going on now. I think maybe he's lost faith in a few of the players. So the reason why he's not making as many subs now is because he doesn't believe that the ones sat behind him are any good. That's the only thing I can think, because as a manager, the only way you don't make subs is if you think the players behind you are better than the ones in front of you.
It bugs me because what I saw, I've seen it a lot consistent now. We score a goal, and when we score a goal, we sort of throw the keys in the ignition and just decide to coast out for the rest of the game. Because that second half, it sort of felt like the team just went, they got the car, put it in neutral, cracked open a drink, and we're like, let's just do fuel economy. It was, and then we hit the speed bump, Palace score, and by the time anyone's woken up, we'd already skidded off the road and we're halfway through the ditch. It's not too late.
I think though, you were absolutely right, and I do think the one thing I would say, because there's been a lot of people jumping on Maresca after this poor run of form, especially people who didn't really want him in the first place.
I've seen that a lot.
Yeah, I was quite vocal that I didn't want him in the first place, but I'm not going to jump on him now. It's not like I've just been waiting for a poor run of form to jump on him. I think the issue that I have is I don't think this has necessarily got anything to do with Maresca at all.
Ooh.
Because he's got the same problems now that Pochettino had. We can be dominant in a game, but we don't take our chances and kill the game off. And then we don't have enough control over the game, and we're not strong enough defensively to keep the opposition out. So 3 points turns into 1 point, or 1 point turns into no points. That happened a lot under Pochettino, and all of the haters of him was always like, wow, it's his tactics. Tactically, he's not good enough. We're seeing the same things now with Maresca. The fact that it's happened now 2 managers in a row would suggest to me that it's a team problem. And I think it boils down to the fact that there isn't enough experience in this team. There isn't the players in this team who, when the game starts turning, they know how to switch the tempo of the game. Yeah. When you have players on the pitch who are 28, 29, 30 plus, who have made over 200 appearances in their career, those players know Palace are on top here, so we need to slow this game right down. We need now to take control of the ball, keep possession, and bore them to death. Get the crowd to go back down again. win a throw-in, win lots of free kicks, maybe tell someone to go down injured for a while, get some treatment, kill the momentum. We don't do any of that. We just let the game go and get away from us. And we almost we'll accept that it's becoming an end-to-end game. And that's just stupid. And the fact that it's happened now under two coaches, both of whom I think are good coaches, would suggest to me that it's a team problem. And that is a difficult thing for a coach to change.
100%. Right, who's your second loser, Ollie?
It's kind of similar to what you were saying about earlier, Mikey. Striker depth. Because, you know, like if Jackson's not having a great run of form, and let's be fair, he's not at the moment, who have we got to bring on? You've got Christopher Nkunku, who looks like he couldn't give a fuck whether he was playing for us or, you know, the Dog and Pheasant Sunday League team. You've got Marc Guehi, who for all of his pressing is only 18 and, like, you know, isn't really gonna challenge Jackson really in any way, nor does he play all that different to Jackson, so he doesn't really provide anything really all that different. And that's kind of it. So, you know, like when it's not, and this kind of in a way as well kind of goes back to what we were saying about Maresca and options and whatnot, is because when it's not working, there's not a huge amount that can change, and there's not a huge amount that can be tweaked. And it's kind of similar with the wingers as well, but the striker is where it really feels like it's so important. Like, we really desperately need that profile of striker that can, like, you know, who's a bit of a physical lump, who can win a header, who's tall, who can bully defenders. Not saying Jackson can't necessarily do those things, but it's not really necessarily his game. He likes to run the channels, he likes to link up, he likes to, you know, like, his game is just different. We need someone who's different enough from Jackson so that when it's not working for him, we can do something different.
All I'm saying is that there is a free agent currently without a club. He knows the club. He gets the club. He's called Alex Pato. He's only 35. He's an experienced player. He would bring leadership. Do it, Todd. Chris, what about your second loser?
Leeds on, actually, from what Ollie was saying. Nicolas Jackson.
He's my final one.
Yeah, he had a poor game, didn't he?
He's
in a bit of a rough run of
horrible performance.
Generally.
Yeah, I think they missed two good chances. The one where he beat the defender and then decided to try it outside of the foot rather than just roll it in with his left foot, I think is bizarre.
I knew that would wind you up.
Well,
I saw that.
Do you know what? It annoyed me because I think when you're not in great form, why are you trying a more difficult finish? Surely your idea would be simplify the game. He did all the hard work. He did really well to engineer that chance. And then I'll go for the most difficult finish I can. You're not banging in goals at the minute though, mate. So just hit it with your left foot. If the keeper saves it, the keeper saves it. People would have said less if he'd hit it left-footed and the keeper saved it than watch him try an outside of the foot and put it wide. So I think Jackson's confidence looks gone. Every time he walks off the pitch, he looks like he's going to cry. I don't think Maresca helped dropping him for the Ipswich game.
Yeah,
in my opinion. For me, and I've played as a striker for many years, it's a very different position, I think, to anywhere else on the pitch. Whereas when you're out of form, the one thing you need to do is just keep playing. I think, you know, you've got a centre-back who's in a really bad run of form. You have to take them out the team. And you can. But with strikers, it's such a confidence position that you almost have to leave them as a manager and say, I just need you to play your way back into form. You know, you look at Haaland, for example. He went on, 5 games at City earlier in the season without scoring a goal. There was never any question that he was going to be dropped.
No, you're right.
Because he just
plays.
There's no question really that Jackson's going to be dropped for us because, like I said, we've got no depth for him.
Exactly. But then he did get dropped. And against a team who was in the relegation zone. Those are the teams you want to play as a striker when you're out of form. It was a bizarre game to drop him for. If he was going to drop him, you'd have dropped him for like, I don't know, for the Fulham game, for example, instead.
Yeah.
So it was a bizarre, but I do think I think people are overly harsh on Jackson. I think again Jackson's another one where people who don't like him have been waiting for him to have a few shit games so they can jump on it.
They've been waiting to stick the boot in.
Yeah,
it's not great because he's had one goal in his last 7 games. That goal drought is costing us. I think what was worse was this game. He had 4 big chances against Palace, and the worst part was he didn't hit the target once.
Yeah.
And look, on our Friday show this week, we'll be talking like transfer targets that we feel that Chelsea should be trying to make this month. I kind of think that we're back in the talks again with a striker, but we're not going to get one because there's no one who's realistically available and for a good price.
Exactly. Here's the thing.
It's gone.
I don't think there is a striker on the market available for a realistic fee who you could absolutely put your hat on and say he would do better than Nicolas Jackson.
I agree.
I agree with that.
I fully agree. Because,
people think, oh, well, we'll go and sign a big name striker, Osimhen or Gyökeres. We'll go and sign them. They'll get the chances that Jackson gets and they'll score the goals because they're better finishers. If it was that clear cut, winning Summit would be easy. Every team would do it then. Because that's not how it works, though, is it? Because they play differently to Jackson. So they might not be in the same positions that he's in to get the chances that we're creating.
Yeah.
So they might not get the same amount of chances. And the amount of times we've signed top strikers and then they come to us and they can't hit a barn door.
Yeah.
So there's no guarantee. Everyone thinks it's like wave a magic wand, sign Gyökeres and we'll be fine. I would be amazed if it turned out that way.
Yeah, the only strikers of that. Look, I've seen Liam Delap. He ain't leaving Ipswich this season. Ain't happening.
Also, he's not better than Jackson.
He's in better form.
Yeah,
he's the different profile we might need.
Yeah,
you say he's in better form, but is he? He scored 2 goals in 2 games.
Penalties.
Both penalties. He wouldn't get penalties at us.
No, you're right. I think
that's the other thing. Actually, if we do sign a striker, they don't take penalties in our team, so you don't have that easy confidence booster.
When a player is, it's not like Giroud. Giroud was a very different scenario because, of course, the Aubameyang Batshuayi triangle that we had. There is a striker available. We've been linked with him before, and there's a reason that he's available. Evan Ferguson. There's a reason. I'm not campaigning for that move. He last scored a goal for Brighton in October against a shit Wolves team. That's a red flag. That's it. That's his goal. I'm worried by that. I'm like, nope.
He's definitely off form, but
he scored one goal all season.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. That's off form. Can't
get much more off form.
Yeah. Well, he could have scored none. But I don't know. Again, it's a bit like Chris was saying. I think sometimes you, as a striker, you need to be able to play your way back into the team. Brighton have too many good attackers for him to be playing at the moment.
Well, I've also got to add, actually, he's actually the perfect signing because he's injured and he won't be back till about February, according to this.
Oh, yeah.
Bring him in.
Sign him up.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I think if I was going to sign a forward in January, I think probably the best player who might be available would be Brian Mbeumo from Brentford.
I would like him.
You think he'd be available?
Brentford would never sell him.
No.
You say that, but Brentford, I mean, let's face it, that they have a club who they're going to have to generate money at some point.
They won't sell their best player.
All clubs outside of the top 6 sell their best player at some point.
Yeah. It's difficult, isn't it?
But I don't think Thomas Frank would sanction that move because he hates us.
Yeah. Ollie, who's your final loser?
December's. When is the last time as a Chelsea fan that we've had an overwhelmingly positive December? Maybe it just doesn't exist, doesn't happen. It's like that clip we've got. It never happened.
Used to be November before we moved.
Never happened.
Yeah, exactly. It never happened. I don't know. Maybe when the last time I'm trying to think back, was it the December where was it December when we at least partially went on that run with Conte and we
Yeah, I
won
was thinking
13
that.
games in a row?
I'm going to try
Right.
and find that in a minute.
I'm pretty sure that was around December time. But that is genuinely the last overwhelmingly positive December, if that is the case, that I can remember. Because it seems that every single season at the moment, we just fall to shit every time Christmas is coming around. It's like the worst gift ever. And it just like,
Yeah.
I'm so sick of it, man. Like, I'm so sick of because I come to expect it now. Like us actually having a good December, I'm like it just won't happen. And so every year, I'm waiting for it to come around where that we just like, I guess it's the season for giving, isn't it? We just gift everyone points against us. So yeah, it's just nightmare.
I'm just looking. Yeah, we did really well during.
Bring back the winter. Bring back the winter break.
So,
That's
if you
what I say.
wondered, when we were under Conte, we played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games in December and won them all. We
Yeah.
beat Bournemouth 3-0. Imagine that.
We
beat
had a great team
Bournemouth.
then, though.
We did. We had Fabregas.
About half of those games
Alonso.
we won 1-0, if I remember correctly.
Our top scorer, we had Costa, Hazard. Oh, yeah, what a team!
But you know
What
what?
a team.
I feel bad for anyone who's like only watched us since like 2020.
Yeah,
Because you've been
and
watching this club for like 5 years.
Like Man
And-
United fans watching it post
Yeah,
Fergie.
and
Yeah.
like like you've seen some good players, and you've seen like some good performances, and you've seen some quality stuff, and even trophies won. But you haven't seen some of the absolute domination that we've had. Like Costa and Fabregas
Yeah.
and Matic and
Oh.
Hazard and
Oh, yeah.
Kante and Lampard and
Oh.
Makaleli and Ballack and all of these others. And you just
You're right.
yeah, I feel bad. I feel bad for Chelsea fans who haven't started watching us recently. Yeah.
Chris, final loser.
People are going to start saying that I'm good. That this is a bit harsh, I think, but I've got Cole Palmer again.
Oh, it's an overreaction.
Overreaction, do you think?
I know why you're saying that. Go on.
I think there's certain players in this team who get criticised when results aren't going well, and rightly so. But it's easy to criticise them. Jackson being a prime example.
Sanchez, another one.
Sanchez, Enzo Fernandez, Colwill, Cucurella, Madueke, Neto. All of these players.
Really good one. Yeah.
Yeah, all of these players get criticised, and rightly so when they're not good. I think, though, when you look at your best players, and I would say our best player is Cole Palmer and then Caicedo. I'd say those two are our two best players.
Yeah.
I think they should be held to a higher regard than anybody then. Their level should be higher than everyone else. So what a 6 out of 10 for Palmer is the equivalent to a 3 out of 10 for Madueke. Because he needs to be held to a higher standard.
Do you think it's because they've built up like quite a lot of goodwill with the performances they've put in so far?
Yeah, my issue is that it feels like he can't be criticised.
Yeah,
which I just think is ludicrous because he's a player in the team, same as everyone else. And listen, it was a really good goal.
Yeah,
but it seems to me at the minute that he scores a goal and then he downs tools. Second half, he did nothing. The only thing he did in the second half was give the ball away cheaply for their goal. That's it.
Yeah, and he does deserve to be. And I have seen people say that he should be called out for that. So I think we are seeing a little bit of criticism go his way. But you're probably right. I think that there are some people who I think, Cole Palmer can't be criticised in this team. But when you think actually about the standard that he should be playing at, maybe, we need to be a little harsher on him. I don't know. Does that sound fair?
I think it does, because every team has a talisman. And he is us. And those are the players that you look to win you football matches. And when they don't, yes, you can look at the supporting cast, but he's the lead actor here. If a film does shit, that's who you look at. So,
and he's made a lot of mistakes lately.
It's like, I watched the Liverpool-Man United game yesterday. Mo Salah was fucking awful in the game. Dreadful. Scored a penalty, but was shit. If they'd lost that game, I would have expected. If I was a Liverpool fan, I would have been criticising Mo Salah because he was shit in that game. Take the penalty away, he did nothing. He was crap, and he's the player who they look to win the matches. So if they'd lost that game yesterday, you would have thought, well, that's why we didn't win because he was crap today. I mean, to be fair, mainly it was down to Trent Alexander-Arnold having the worst right back performance I've ever seen. But
his head's gone. He's in Spain.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think Parma's the same for us. When we don't win, when we don't win, it's probably because Palmer hasn't had a great game. When Palmer has a great game, he wins games by himself. Done it against Everton, he done it against Brighton. When he's on it, he can win a game on his own.
I guess there's another question to that as well, which, yes, you have to hold him to a higher standard, but should he be expected to win the game by himself?
No, of course he shouldn't. But I would say if he had an okay performance, like if he scored his goal and then he created another couple of chances, he had another couple of shots that forced the keeper into a save, and he was just generally okay. He wasn't outstanding, but he was just okay. I think you say, yeah, that's fine. Because he did his job. He scored a goal.
But or do you say he's the talisman, he should be doing more?
No, I wouldn't in that. I think my problem with him at the moment is he seems to be going from really good for 10 minutes to then absolutely shit for 80.
Yeah. I'm still convinced to a certain degree, a bit by what you said, Chris, that if it's not working for him in a game, he should go out wide.
Yeah, he should. This thing with keeping him in the most congested area of the pitch is another thing, another mark against Maresca for me. I seen in the build up to this game, by the way, I seen someone say Maresca's getting the absolute best out of Cole Palmer. It's the best version of Palmer we've seen, and I thought, well, it isn't. He was better last season. Cole Palmer, in general, I think was better last season. He had more of an impact on the game last season than this season.
Is that because people didn't know what to expect?
Partly, and I think I think we said in the summer that we had to expect this year, that there'd be a drop off.
That was me.
But for me, again, just try putting him out wide, just to see if it makes a difference. Just try something, because at the moment, when your best player is drifting out of games after 20 minutes, it's a problem.
Yeah,
I wonder as well, Chris, if it's like you say, like, is it a bit of both? Is it Palmer goes, well, I'm stuck in the middle here. I've got 6 players around me. The only time I ever get the ball is when I'm dropping into CDM, right?
Yeah.
So he's going, well, actually, yeah, like I am trying a bit less hard because, like, when everyone's man marking me out of the game, there's nothing I can do about it. So is there a question about it's like half tactics, half effort, sort of like we're meeting somewhere in the middle?
I think maybe, because I don't know whether you guys feel the same, but he doesn't look like he's enjoying playing as much this year.
I think that's just him in general. I don't think it's
yeah, but last year when you watched him play, and at the start of this season, I would say, he looked like a kid in a playground. Just absolutely loves kicking a ball about, like playing with so much freedom. He glides across the pitch. Every touch he has is good. Every pass he plays is good. Now he looks a little bit like
pressure, fitness, could be a few things.
He's having a few heavy touches that you wouldn't expect him to. Even the ball that he gave away for the goal, that's not a ball I would expect Palmer to give away. Just so lazy and easy to dispossess.
I suppose the thing is if we probably win the game, we're probably not talking about Palmer. Rightly or wrongly, we're probably not really talking about his performance because, like you say, Chris, I think there were probably a few like instances of his touches and things like that didn't go awry. But at the same time, there are a few that went really well. Though there was that one touch where he took over the Palace defender to pass it to who was playing on the right wing, Neto.
Yeah.
And it was absolutely ridiculous. I've never seen anything like it. And Palmer has that in his sort of bag of tricks.
Yeah, he does.
I guess as well, it's like this is all a symptom a bit of the spotlight being on him more from last season.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and I just want to say as well, like this. Yeah. I'm not saying he's a bad player, because I know people always take everything like, oh, if you put him on a loser list, you must think he's shit. I actually think he's really good. I actually rate him so highly that's why I'm disappointed.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's fair. Right, emojis. What I've got, you know what? I've channeled the inner Chris. I have gone with the shrug because it just left me thinking, oh, we're not back to this shit again.
I went with the egg emoji because Palace sat on us. The Eagles sat on us. That's what it felt like.
Nice.
Oh.
I'm gonna go with the handshake. It's a draw.
Yeah. You know what? I've got a quick
Overreaction, do you think?
Oscar overreaction because I don't even know if I'm being serious when I say this. Basically, Chelsea do not make the top 4 this season, and due to that, we do not secure a shirt sponsor yet again for the start of the next campaign. See, I'm laughing. I don't even know if I mean it.
People will say it's an overreaction, but I think that's the only people who are saying that are the ones who haven't looked at the league table.
I know Newcastle got that 10-point gap real quick, didn't they? Gobbled that up. It was like,
And this is an argument that me and Berth have had in the group chat. The reason why I'm worried about top 4 is if Nottingham Forest don't fall away,
they're winning at the moment,
which people are expecting them to. But if they don't fall away and they have a Villa type season where they get into the top 4, Manchester City are getting top 4.
Possibly,
so there's no spaces left.
Yeah, but
and
there
Newcastle
is a top,
are hot on our heels as well. Like,
top 5 is meant to be realistic, apparently now. Like,
and the thing is as well. Like, even with Man City having only they won 2 games for a third of a season. They won 2 in 13 basically, and they're still barely any points behind us.
Yeah. It's basically the Homer Simpson chasing the car down meme. It's like they're getting closer. Right, we do have Lion of the Week picks. It's not great. Berth had Jackson. He's definitely not winning it.
No, he's definitely not winning.
Chris got Caicedo. I had Nkunku and the wheel went Neto. Someone's got to win that.
It's got to be Neto of those 4.
Yeah, it's got to be Neto of those 4.
Well,
because everyone else was terrible or didn't.
The wheel wins because Ipswich we had no winners. We literally struggled to pick.
We picked Delap.
Right.
I'm gonna hold you to that. Next time, if we see the stats at the end of the season and Delap's not on there, I'm gonna be furious.
Fucking hell. Do we give it Jadon Sancho as the actual Lion?
Nah, Achiampong for me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got to be Achiampong.
Wow, welcome to the club. He's not been on this before. Okay. So Quaresma's questions, and just as we were talking, we've had a question get sent in. Don't worry, listeners, I've got some of yours. But we've had one sent in from Berth.
Berth!
Not on the show, but he sent a question in.
Do you know what? That even when he's not on the show, he's contributing.
He is.
Masterclass.
So
he's like Eden Hazard when he didn't score a goal.
With our midfield shortage, would you take Douglas Luiz on loan? Has he played for Juventus? Has he actually played? We don't need another player who's not playing, and he's got to play into form. And by the time he's played into form, it's the end of the season.
He hasn't been playing recently, no.
I would take him.
I
we desperately need the midfield cover. We know he can do it in the Premier League. This isn't like a Zakaria situation. Like we know.
He's played 9 games this season, 2 of which have been starts. 294 minutes, 11 against Milan in obviously the 3rd of Jan, 1 minute against Fiorentina, so that don't count, 24 against Venezia, 5 against City, a full 90 against Lazio in October. That's a risk.
Right, so he needs to spend at least 2 weeks.
He's rested
up to match fitness.
He's rested.
So if you sign him today, he's ready by the end of the month, basically.
He started 2 games though.
Yeah, but it's not like he's been injured though, is it?
No,
it's not like he's not training.
He just hasn't been getting picked. So I would take him on loan. I think it's low risk, high reward.
He is a good player. Okay, Byron. Good hell if I could read my own screen. Byron Froneman, continue with Jackson until end of season as the main striker, or would you go for a new striker now, such as Gorkras? I stick with him because of the fact the market's screwed. You're not getting good value.
I think you have to stick with him because it's a bit similar to like what Chris said earlier. He's either going to play himself back into form or he'll prove himself unworthy, right? So either way, we'll get a better idea of what we need to do in the summer.
Exactly. There's some Palmer questions here. Kayla and G-Pain both put similar ones saying, Palmer went missing second half. Time to try and Nkunku at 10 in second halves and move Palmer wider. That was G-Pain. And Kayla said, can Palmer quit ghosting us in the second half of games? I'm starting to get offended. It seems that Chris noticed it as well.
I'm going to say something that's going to make it sound like I've been replaced with a doppelganger who doesn't know anything about me. I would rather see João Felix in come on for the pitch for Cole Palmer than Nkunku.
Overreaction, I think.
Wow. Okay.
I think either's fine. I wouldn't be against Felix coming on, or Nkunku. We've got to try something with Palmer because for me, it's been a number of games now where the same thing has happened.
Yeah,
he's been good and then faded out.
I mean,
I think it as well. It's important for Maresca to know that he can sub him off.
Yeah, that's true. Spoilers for ahead. We're not doing the line today. That'll be Friday, but we are playing in the FA Cup against Morecambe. So João Felix might start that.
Ooh, could be.
He'd feast. Morecambe were in. I saw that they posted Morecambe fans were posting in the Chelsea subreddit because there's a protest going on this weekend. I've no idea more on that. I didn't read the whole thing, but that might.
Oh, they got problems going on or something.
I don't know. I mean, I'm
Weird.
talking. I should actually click on the post and actually not. What are they doing? What are they planning? The 1920 union have some provisional plans for fans wanting to stick together as one to contribute to atmosphere. It might not be a protest. Or is it?
Do you know what it's going to be? They're going to fucking beat us, aren't they? You can just see it. It's written in the fucking stars.
I'm telling you right now, I've as level-headed as I've been. If we go out of the FA Cup at home to Morecambe, Maresca needs to get sacked.
Okay, now I know, and I really should have known because of locality. The current owner of Morecambe is Jason Whittingham, who put them up for sale in September of 2022. He also owned the Worcester Warriors during this time, and they went to administration and then liquidated. That's why Worcester City now, yes, they're a non-league team, play at the Worcester Warriors ground, the Six-Way Stadium. It's insane, that is. And apparently Jason has said on multiple occasions he's tried to sell. He's a few weeks from selling them, but every time he tries to sell them, the person he's selling to fails the fit and proper owners test. Yeah, that's a red flag.
That's not a good sign, is it?
That's not very good.
If you can only seem to sell your club to snake oil salesmen,
it's not great.
You need to get yourself into some better circles.
That's for the Friday show. We'll find out. Right, wrapping up today's show. End of show game. Guess the player by their career path. And if you're a new listener, here's how it works. I describe a player's career path. It's a bit like the Wikipedia game, essentially. You got to figure out who it is. And, of course, the first person to guess correctly takes the win. There's only 2 people today. So, if you get it wrong, you're frozen out till the other one wants to just literally run through the whole teams. So, I've got 3 players ready. And, of course, there's a theme. I'm always doing a theme because Berth loves a theme. He's not here, but he loves the theme. 2004 Champions League. So, every player today was in the top 10 goal scorers for the 03-04 edition of the Champions League. So that narrows it down. That does narrow it down. So, yeah. Right. This player, first one, started his career at Monaco B before moving to where did they go, team?
Monaco.
Monaco. Yes, they did. Before making a move to Juventus. And from Juventus, didn't stay there long before moving to Arsenal.
Oh, I got it.
Who is it?
Is it Thierry Henry?
It is indeed, who went to Barca, New York Red Bulls, and then Arsenal on loan. He was at Monaco from 94 to 99, and then he went to Juventus in 99, and then I'm guessing he went in January. He's got over. There's no other way. Fair play. Second player. If you get it on the first team, I will be impressed. He started his career at 7 Stars. It's a real team.
That's not a real team.
It's a real team.
That's a pub team.
It's a real
No, it's not even a pub team. It's just a pub.
It's a real team. 7 Stars. I'm going to pull... Actually, screw you. I'm going to look them up. I'm not telling you where they are.
7 Stars. They serve a lovely pint, they do.
That might give you... Oh, you know what? They're actually called something else now. Wow. So, on that...
Pheasant.
They moved on loan to Cape Town Spurs, which is, funnily enough, the team, right, that 7 Stars and Cape Town Spurs merged together to create a new club. But that's not on their list, so I can't say that. So, yeah, they then moved to Ajax. And if you wondered, they moved to Ajax Cape Town. That's what the 2 teams merged to be. So, he's currently at Ajax. Before he makes a move to Celta Vigo. And then moves to Porto before moving to Blackburn Rovers.
Is it Is it Benny McCarthy?
It's Benny McCarthy, who then goes to
Oh,
West Ham
very
and
nice.
finished his career at Orlando Pirates. I never knew that they two teams merged to make Cape Town Spurs.
So he started in
Ajax
South
Cape
Africa.
Town.
Benny McCarthy.
Yeah. That's
Interesting.
Yeah.
Ajax Cape Town. Oh, that's cool. Didn't know that.
Is he South African, Benny McCarthy?
He
He's
is South
before my
African,
time.
yeah.
Oh,
He is
okay.
South African, yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I'm pretty sure.
Good striker, to be fair.
Yeah, I was going to say I have memory of him playing for South Africa. I'm like, but he was the first team coach at United recently, and they were like, he could still play, and I'm like, that'd be hilarious to watch. It'd be great. Imagine if he was their best striker since like Henrik Larsson. But that'd be beautiful. Right, the final player started his career at Reims before moving to Metz B. You know where he's going now? He's going to Metz, and then he moves to Marseille. Before,
Hang on. I'm going to make a guess here.
Go on.
Yeah.
Is it Didier Drogba?
It's not, because from Marseille he moves to Arsenal.
That would have been my guess, by the way, Ollie.
Oh, Drogba was in the top 10 goal scorers that season in the Champions League that season, and that is deliberately why I didn't pick him, because it was too easy.
From Marseille to Arsenal.
Yeah, it's too easy. Whenever I say a Chelsea player, we all have Chelsea knowledge, so it's like, it's easy. Come on.
Yeah, if only we all knew South African players from the 90s.
Yeah, exactly. So he's at Arsenal, and then he moves to Villarreal before moving to Aston Villa, and finish his career at Goa. So it's Reims, Metz B, Metz, Marseille, Arsenal, Villarreal, Aston Villa, and Goa.
Lots of villas.
Trying to think of a striker who he must be French.
You got a free shot at this, Chris.
Arsenal, Villarreal. Then went to Villa.
He
He must have
did.
been quite old at this point, though, so he must have stayed at one of those clubs for quite a long time.
Can you run through them again, Mikey? Just one more time.
Reims, Metz B, Metz, Marseille, Arsenal, Villarreal, Villa, Goa.
No, I got nothing, Chris.
No, to be fair, neither have I.
He was joint 9th highest scorer.
Is he French?
He is French.
And is he a striker?
No.
That could be what's doing me here then.
I'm
French, not
going to
striker.
allow.
I know who it is.
I don't know if I can allow. Go on.
Is it Robert Pires?
It is Robert Pires.
Fair enough. No, give him that, because we couldn't get it. So
I remember him going to Villarreal now, and then he came back for Villa when he was really old on loan for like a year.
You know what? Just for context, I should do that one day. I don't think you'd get the Drogba one, actually. You would, because it goes. I'm never going to use this. So Le Mans even. Guingamp, Marseille, Chelsea, Shanghai Shenhua, Galatasaray, Chelsea, Montreal Impact, Phoenix Rising. He didn't play for Metz.
What an absolutely random assortment of clubs Drogba played for.
Yeah.
Phoenix
and he was
Rising,
quality at all of them.
And he owns Phoenix Rising, I'm pretty sure.
He does.
He does, yeah.
But they're going out to
that
China
is-
with
that
Dar
is
and Galatasaray,
I've got to say it. He part owns Phoenix Rising with Fallout Boy bass player Pete Wentz. That's insane. Like, that's my music and my club together. I'm like, that is the two most random people together in a room. What?
That is a crazy crossover episode for you.
Oh, that's mad. Oh, that's mad. Right. Listeners, we're at the end of another episode. Thank you as always for listening and tuning in. And before we go, we're always happy to proudly remind you that our partnership with Head in the Game, the mental health charity, check them out at headinthegame.co.uk. Treat yourself well. We'll be back on Friday with something transfer related, though we're kind of given that away. But then till next time, that is going to be us signing off.
You've been listening to At The Bridge Pod, a Chelsea FC podcast. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram by searching for At The Bridge Pod. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, leaving us a review is always appreciated.